Hi everyone, my name is Buddy Gott, and this is my brand new show called Buddy's Review Show. I was going to just call it Buddy's Reviews, but I did a little Google search and saw that there was a site already called Buddy's Reviews that just dealt with like adult movies. So I don't want to at least publicly be associated with adult movies. So this is going to be called Buddy's Review Show. Fascinating so far, eh? Well, anyway, welcome to episode number one. And what I'm going to do in the show is I'm going to mix it up, okay? Maybe one show I'll be reviewing an album, another a movie, another books. So first off, I am going to be talking about the new album from the classic band Yes. And their new album was released in July of this year, just about a month ago. It's called Heaven and Earth. And as you all know, Yes has been around for many, many years, going back to, I believe, the late 1960s. What a lot of people don't realize is that the lead singer who had been with the band, John Anderson, for most of their career, has not been with them for the past several years, and this is the second album that they've recorded since John Anderson has left the band. They have a new singer named John Davison. This is the first one they've done with him. The previous one was done with a fellow named Benoit David. That was called Fly From Here, which is a fantastic album. If you're not familiar with that one, I advise checking it out. All the albums that I'm going to review here on the show, they're going to be available on Spotify, so if you have Spotify, you can listen to them on there for free, unless you're paying their monthly charge, which I do. Definitely worth it, but this isn't a commercial for Spotify. But that was a great album. Benoit David had to leave the band. He had some sort of vocal problems, and couldn't continue singing with them, unfortunately, which is a shame because he was great. But a couple years ago, they got this new singer, John Davison, and they've been touring with him. They've been doing the past year or so some of the classic Yes albums in their entirety. I think they do 2-3 albums per night when they're out on tour. And I had seen a bunch of clips on YouTube with this guy, and fantastic. I mean, he's got the very similar voice to John Anderson, and was really looking forward to the studio album. Like I said, it came out last month, and it's called Heaven and Earth. And I'll tell you, I like it a lot. If you look for it on Amazon.com, you're going to see, I think right now, it's got 298 reviews on there, and it's averaging about 3 stars. And for me, I'm going to give it 4 stars. It's really a very good album. Like I said, John Davison is new to the band, but you've got a lot of members in the band who have been there for quite some time. I'm here looking at the entry online for it. Of course, legendary guitarist Steve Howe, he had left the band for many years, and he's returned. He's been with them for the past several albums. He's there. You got Chris Squire, the bass player and backing vocalist. He's been the only consistent member of Yes throughout the years. He's been with them right from the beginning. Jeff Downs, who was with Yes briefly in the late 1970s or early 1980s, and he's returned for the past few years. And Alan White, who's been their drummer since the early 1970s. Jeff Downs, the keyboardist, he's also the keyboardist for Asia, another group that I'm a big, big fan of. And I got to tell you, this is a great album. A lot of the reviews that I'm seeing elsewhere, people are complaining. It's the same kind of thing you see like when Journey puts out a new album without Steve Perry. A lot of the Yes fans, a lot of the diehard Yes fans, unfortunately I'm seeing it in the bulk of the reviews there. They're like, there is no Yes without John Anderson. Well, I think that's kind of unfair to the rest of the members of Yes, just like it is with Journey when people say there is no Journey without Steve Perry. I mean, you've got like all these other members who, like I said, have been with the band, for decades. And I don't see any reason why a band can't continue on. I could see well, you know what, I could see something if it's like the Rolling Stones. You can't continue without Mick Jagger. But that would be a big, big mistake. But anyway, I like this album a lot. A lot of the fans are saying that they don't think that it sounds like classic Yes, like the progressive. Yes is known for being one of the prog rock or progressive rock bands, one of the premier bands in that genre, from the 70s. And a lot of people are saying it doesn't sound like that, but you can't expect a new album from a band to sound like something from 35 or 40 years ago. And that's what a lot of people are saying about it. It's like, oh, it should be like Close to the Edge was, or it should be like Fragile was. Well, those are from the early 1970s. This does have a very different sound. You might be able to put on some of the songs on here, and instantly you might think, okay, that if you just heard it and didn't know who it was, you might not know it's Yes. Like I said, the singer is very similar, but the music is a little bit different. Some of the songs in there do have still that progressive rock sound, very, very instrument friendly. Like there's a couple of tracks in there. I think one is like the old Yes albums. They do some very long songs. There's three very long songs on there, like maybe over 7 minutes, and lot of the thing I love about them is the music. I love Steve Howe as a guitarist. Fantastic. When Steve goes off on one of his solos or just like a short riff, he's just such a brilliant guitarist. One of my favorite guitarists ever. He sounds fantastic on the album. Jeffrey Downs, I like a lot as a keyboard player. Always admire the bass work from Chris Squire and his background vocals. As his background vocals, along with I think Steve Howe still does background vocals. I know sometimes he does, sometimes he doesn't, but they sound great on here. And the new singer, definitely a great addition to the band. So if you're a Yes fan and you're curious about this, you should check it out on Spotify or wherever. Very, very good album. You're not going to hear, the same stuff you heard, like I've Seen All Good People, things like that. It does have a different sound to it, which you got to expect. You can't. And personally, I don't want bands to always sound the way that they've always sounded. There's some bands I think who can get away with that, like AC/DC. You hear an AC/DC song. I love AC/DC. They're one of my favorites. It's always going to have like that certain sound, that certain guitar riff, which is great. And with them, you've had pretty much like, other than like I think a change of singer and maybe a drummer for a little while, you've had the same band for many, for the bulk of the time they've been together. Yes has gone through all kinds of lineup changes throughout the years, but these guys are stellar musicians. I was going to say it 3 times there, but I stopped myself. And just fantastic. I mean, and musicians I know like to change. They like to stretch themselves, and this one is a stretch. The music does sound a little different. Some of it's got a very, I want to say, pop sound. There's a couple of ballads on there. But if you are a Yes fan and you're not familiar with this album, do yourself a favor, check it out, give it a few listens. For me, it took me probably 4 or 5 listens before I, really grew to like the whole thing. There were a few songs that grabbed me right away, but I think it's one of those albums that, the more you listen to it, the more you will appreciate it. And if you appreciate good music and you've liked Yes in the past, you want to check out their Heaven and Earth album, which is now available. So that is my quick review of Yes's Heaven and Earth. Like I said, I give it 4 out of 5 stars. I thank you for watching, and I'll be back again with another review. Maybe the next time it's going to be a book. Maybe a movie. I'm not sure. I thank you again. I'll see you soon. Bye. Gotta find the off button. Promise not to sing every show. See ya.